Hey guys, it's me Neon with another video. Today, I didn't really feel like watching anything, so I just decided to read some Reddit posts, and today we're just going to be looking at r/entitled parents because that just seems to really make me mad, and I just wanted to talk about that today. So, if you guys do like this video, just be sure to like and subscribe. It just helps more people see it, and without anything else to say, I'm just going to get straight into it. So in today's story, his parents decided to cancel my 14th birthday party just to accommodate my spoiled younger brother. It was reinstated when he told everyone at his school. I'm a 20-year-old male, and this happened when I was about 14. I have a younger brother who was about 16, who was about 6 years younger than me, and he was extra called by my parents for been having diagnosed with high-functioning autism when he was 4. But other than that, he seems very normal, just unbelievably spoiled, and that he used to get his way a lot. And by a lot, I mean nearly all of the time. Anything I had, he also had to have. So that meant that we had doubles of almost everything in the house that wasn't shared. And anything that I had that he didn't, he'd rub in my face any way that he could. When I was 11, I begged my parents for a 3DS for my 12th birthday. When I got one, but was then told to lend it to my brother whenever he wanted it, or else I'd have it taken away, which it was a lot. When my aunt found out, after seeing my parents forcibly take my 3DS out of my hands and give it to my brother on one of her visits, she let loose on them for such blatant favoritism. They returned my 3DS immediately, then blamed me for the situation after my aunt left. But they didn't make me give it to my brother again. Instead, my parents went out a few days later and brought another 3DS as a surprise gift for my brother. On several of mine and other people's birthdays, my brother made a huge fuss because the party wasn't all about him, even going so far as to outright state that he was upset because he wasn't getting any gifts or getting to blow out the candles on the cake. My parents learned the hard way that they couldn't enable my brother the way they liked at those parties, and it actually kicked out of a few for trying, and because of that, other kids at his school stopped inviting him to birthday parties altogether. For me, my birthday parties were some of the only days I had that I got to be about me, because otherwise my parents forced my life to revolve around my little brother. In the year prior to when the story took place, my parents ended up paying more attention to him the entire time of my 13th birthday, and even asked me if I'd let my brother blow out the candles for me because he was upset and pouting. I refused that because I wanted to blow out my candles. They called me a spoiled brat at first, till my aunt intervened and chastised them on their favoritism yet again, and stated how much she had noticed how my brother gets nearly anything between the two of us just because he's autistic. My parents get no support from anyone else other than my brother, who was still crying because he wasn't getting to blow out the candles. And because he didn't get his way, he tried to outright spit on my cake out of spite. But from my awesome aunt, thankfully blocked him before he got the chance, then scolded him till he ran to my mom in tears. My parents took a lot of heat from the other adults there and promised never to ask me to let my brother blow out the candles again. But they pretty much just went through the motions for the rest of the party. My aunt pretty much took over coordinating everything from that point on. The following year, a couple of weeks before my birthday, my parents sat me down and told me they were going to get me some gifts, a small cake, but my birthday party was effectively canceled to avoid my brother having another meltdown. I told them I couldn't believe what they were doing, but they just seemed to shrug it off without a care in the world. So at school over the next week, I told my friends, teachers, and even my school counselor. All of them were seemingly appalled by my parents' lack of consideration or empathy. The vice principal even found me and consoled me, and all of this got back to my parents through social media. My parents ended up grounding and gaslighting me for telling so many people but that didn't stop me from telling everyone at school that I was grounded just for being upset. My birthday was canceled for no good reason. I guess that made it a lot worse because several of my parents' own friends came up, uh, own friends along with parents. Other kids in my school called them with Facebook messages, basically saying, "What is wrong with you?" And suddenly I was ungrounded. I didn't get an apology either. That had to be the worst part. My dad just walked into my room with his arms crossed, told me my grounding was over early, and then walked out. That was it. I thought my party was still canceled because no one said anything about it, and my brother thought it was hilarious and rubbing it in my face I wasn't going to get to celebrate. But by the end of the 2 weeks, my parents held a surprise party for me at my favorite restaurant, and then started claiming it was their intent all along, even though I knew it wasn't. From what I'd seen, everyone was incredibly unhappy with them for what they did, and it showed with any interactions family members had with my parents. So they ended doing their little surprise party to try and save what little bit of the reputations they had left, but I'm pretty sure they had to pay enough through the nose that day just to accommodate me. I got dinner with all my friends at my favorite restaurant that had a small arcade, and even got a PS4 game system I'd been jonesing them for the whole time. I could tell it was all pretty much planned and bought at the last minute because my dad had a look about him that my mom and comically described as a moth had flown out of his wallet. My brother, of course, had made a huge fuss that the surprise party, but with so many of the friends and their parents there, my mom and dad finally put their feet down on my brother to stop his tantrum, and he wanted to push my cake off of the table. But brother ended up getting a timeout, and for the first time since he was a toddler, my mom had to stay with him to make sure he didn't want to the cake run to the cake of the stack of presents. Who knows what he would have done if it weren't for the fact that there were always adults keeping him like guards. Even my dad stood guard to keep him away. My mom even had to remove my brother himself from the party entirely, so my little brother could go to a McDonald's. That way he would feel a little bit better. And I heard later she had spent at least an hour trying to get him to come out of the play pace tube structure, and he only did so because he had to use the bathroom, then tried to run right back in again. My parents still tried to cancel my birthday again while I still lived with them, though they never again tried as hard or spent as much. For the remaining 4 years I was under their roof, my birthday parties consisted of a local pizza parlor, a cake without even my name on it, and never again anything as expensive as a new gaming system. I don't mean to sound spoiled, but I was a little bit disappointed when I never got a cake with my name on it again. My aunt called my parents out on that each year, and each year they claimed they forgot to get the cake decorated. I'm pretty sure the reason my name was never written on the cake is because my brother always refused to eat pieces of cake that had writing of someone else's name on it at any party, and they couldn't put his name on it any of my cakes. But the fact is, I still got a day that was just about me and not my brother, and it was still fantastic in my book, especially because just about everything else revolved around him. During each of my remaining birthday parties, while still living at home, my brother made a fuss, and my mom went somewhere else to keep him calm. I was still required to share my PS4 with my brother, but it was still mine, and I took it with me when I moved out at 18. My little brother did not like that, safe to say, and had a huge fit till my parents went out and bought him another PS4. When I moved out, they finally had enough, and they had dealt with my brother. They'd raised my brother so spoiled because I wasn't there to help him anymore. On his recent 14th birthday, he went mental on our parents for not getting him a PS5. He is now currently grounded for I don't even know how long after causing hundreds or maybe even thousands in collateral damage during his rampage. He picked up a chair and just started destroying anything in front of him, and my parents just looked mentally checked out when I saw them last. My aunt had also told me they confided in her that they wish they could send my brother to military or boarding school in the future because they can't handle the monster they created anymore. But there's no way they can afford that. I'd be lying if I said I didn't find it ironically funny. Not gonna lie, I do feel bad for your parents. I mean, having a kid like that just sucks. Also really do feel bad for you, and your brother just sticking up in the tubes like a hamster. That's kind of funny, but the way he ran back, wow. I just feel bad for you. But good luck with that, and have a good birthday. So, without anything else to do, thanks for letting me read this story. Okay, so if you guys like the story, just please be sure to like and subscribe because it does help me out a lot. It helps more people see it, and I just really want to have more people have a good day, including you guys, so just please like and subscribe, that way more people can see it, and without anything else, this is just Neon saying see ya, and bye.